Today's topic is going to be about how to maximize hypertrophy, and the simple answer: only use machines. So throw that old rusty barbell out the window and hop on the gain train. Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but it's also not that far from being true. In actuality, there is a time and a place to use barbell exercises, to utilize them, such as an RDL or a stiff leg deadlift. On top of that, dumbbell exercises like an incline dumbbell press are very good at overloading the pec in the stretched position. So there is a time and a place. But hear me out. When comparing free weight exercises to machines, we will come to the conclusion that the machines are far superior to the free weights. I'm just gonna name a few points here. When performing a free weight exercise like a barbell squat, for example, quite often the limiting factor isn't actually the muscle group that we are trying to grow, let's say the quads. In most cases, it's going to be the erectors that are limiting all capability to actually properly stimulate the quad. This can vary from lifter to lifter depending on their own bone structure, but this will be the case more often than not. On top of that, we have way more instability, which will result in compromised force generating capabilities, aka we cannot push as hard and we cannot push as safe. Through optimizing the stability, taking that completely away, we can push harder and we can push harder more safely. Another added benefit of utilizing machines is that we can increase the range of motion in comparison to free weight exercises. For example, with the leg press, where we can actually put the seat down and through that get way deeper in a very good position to actually execute force and stimulate our quads or glutes. Yeah. And these points that I mentioned prior all kind of feed into the stimulus to fatigue ratio. Short explanation of what the stimulus to fatigue ratio is. An easy comparison to explain the stimulus to fatigue ratio would be the difference between a barbell squat and a leg press. These two exercises are stimulating the same muscle group, although the barbell squat has way more stability demands than the leg press. These added stability demands for your erectors, your obliques, in general your core musculature and other muscle groups like your upper back will add more fatigue without actually having a positive influence on the quad stimulus. These stability demands for the squat are taken away with the leg press. Therefore, we can fully focus on the actual quad stimulus and we're just taking the extra added fatigue away. This will result in a way better stimulus to fatigue ratio. So the stimulus could potentially be the same, but the fatigue is way higher for the barbell squat than the leg press. Therefore, the leg press will probably be more optimal for hypertrophy than the barbell squat. I think that should have been pretty understandable. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't do any free weight exercises. It just means that from a optimizing hypertrophy perspective, it does make sense to prioritize machine work over free weights. You can still utilize these free weight exercises as, for example, accessory movements. And yes, there are free weight exercises like the RDL or stiff leg deadlift that are solid staples that should be included in every exercise routine, but these are exceptions and most other exercises can be fully replaced through machines. And after all of this, you may still think, yeah, that's cool and all, but I really like to train with free weights and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This video is about optimizing hypertrophy and not optimizing your training. When trying to optimize your training, you will deviate from this optimal hypertrophy kind of construct, because way more than only the optimizing hypertrophy part goes into your training and what is optimal for you. Things like fun, your own body structure, just personal preferences also have to go in all of this, and solely focusing on what is optimal for hypertrophy will probably not cut it. But when we are just trying to optimize hypertrophy, focusing on machines is definitely the way to go. Please like and follow if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of this kind of content. Would really appreciate a feedback. See ya!